Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another week, and it's a Wednesday and it's 11 a.m., which means I'm online discussing how you can extract more value from your comment section. And welcome to the comment section. So every Wednesday at 11 o'clock, I go live, and I'm giving and trying to help brands, especially those in the e-commerce sector, trying to extract more value from their comment section, because there's so many brands out there that I believe should be getting more from the comment section, but they're not. And it's not because you don't want to, it's just either resource or actually the education around that. So every week, 10-15 minutes, I'm going to give you some tips on how you can extract more value around one particular subject of the comment section. And this week, it's managing your brand's reputation on social media. So best practices for hiding and addressing negative comments while protecting your brand image. For those who don't know who I am, my name is James. I'm the founder of Rupert, your 24/7 social media assistant. And Rupert is designed to help brands across all industries extract more value from their comment section, but also hide the negativity in the brand bashes, which are harming your brand while you're offline. So every week, I like to start with a stat, if my clicker works. And it works now. And this week is 40% more spent with businesses that chat and respond to customers on social media. This is massive, especially if you're in the e-commerce world. Let's say your average order value is, let's say it's £100, and that increases to 120 because you're chatting and responding to your community. Now, that doesn't move the needle a lot in one order, but actually, if you're doing 10, 15, 20, 100 orders a day or even a week, that moves the needle massively over a prolonged period of time. And what's amazing with that is the acquisition cost is still the same. That won't change, but actually the revenue and the profit that you're making for that particular client will. So again, just be really conscious that actually your audience, your community, your customers, your potential customers, they want to chat with you. And if they are going out their way to comment, reply. And again, we'll go through some tips on that. So I always give some examples of brands that I've seen this week that have done either a good job or a great job or not very good job. And this one is Dignity Funeral Plans. So these guys are running sponsored ads. These are paid ads. They're paying to distribute this message to their audience. And what you'll see here, they've got 85 comments on this particular ad. They've had 19 shares. So again, I would say that's a successful ad in terms of engagement. But what is incredible is that there's a lot of comments that they're missing out on. And again, this one, you'll see the top one, Sharon, which is, giving a bit of a testimonial, I guess, around how they worked, but also Becky then going into a comment then, really bashing the brand. Now, there's two things that Dignity could have done here. They could have responded in a dignified way, or they could have hidden it. It's totally up to them. And we'll go on to actually how you can potentially turn Becky into not so much an advocate in this case, because obviously it's a very emotional type of product that they're selling and service, but actually they could have really showed the brand in a better light in terms of response to that one. So why managing your brand's reputation on social media is so important. And if anyone from Jaguar is listening, which you won't be, because not many people actually listen to this, they will tell you firsthand how important it is. So first one is social media is your public reputation. People judge your brand now, not just by the content you're putting out, because there's so much content out there that, they're not going to judge you just by that alone, but actually how you also respond to criticism within your comment section. And I do this a lot when I'm looking to buy or purchase a product. I would actually look at the comment section now and just see if anyone's had some bad reviews, or actually if they've got the comment section on at all. But 67% of consumers say they're more likely to buy from a brand that responds to negative comments transparently. That's massive. Again, if you're running paid media and you like Dignity there, they've got people that are, telling people how bad an experience they had, leaving them neglected is really going to affect results. The second one is ignoring or mishandling negativity can backfire. So deleting or ignoring complaints can escalate issues and actually make your brand seem very untrustworthy. For example, Dignity is an example there. And look at things like Jaguar, what they did, it just wasn't good. An example of this could be, a frustrated customer have had bad experience because the online order didn't turn up. And again, that can turn into a bit of a viral PR disaster. and what I would also mention on that is that if you can't handle the comments, don't also turn them off, because recently I've been getting some ads for Outlet Oakley sunglasses, and I'm like, okay, I could buy some of those, and I was gonna look at clicking on the link, and then notice that there's all their ads, all their comments have been turned off. So I now am not going to make that purchase, although they're very cheap, just in case it's a bit of a scam. And the third one is handled well. Negative comments can build trust. This for me is where a lot of brands are missing a trick. They've got the opportunity to respond to negativity to really enhance their social engagement, not just for that particular consumer that's gone to them, but actually everyone else that's going to be seeing their ads and their content. A thoughtful, professional response shows you care also about the customer, but also your brand. Someone that does this really well is Huel, and I speak about these quite a bit, just purely because actually they respond to a lot of their comments, typically all of them. And what's amazing is that even the ones that are, been a little bit negative around either their minimum order value or even some of their flavoring, actually their response is really well handled, and they're unapologetic. They're very strict in terms of, look, you might not like it, but this is our brand. But they go back in such a really nice way. So yeah, if you want to look at a brand that does it very well, Huel is definitely one to look at. Here's a brand that have done it very, very well. And you'll see these guys, the Divorce Online. I'm not too sure why I got that ad. But they respond to every single comment. And again, what's amazing with this is that they're a small business. They're running paid media. They see the value in acquiring customers via social. And they've taken on board that every single comment is a potential customer that they could get through the door. And again, really, really good how these guys have done this. So again, if you want another example, look at what these guys are doing and look at their responses. They're not very much well detailed, but they're really good, and they're doing exactly what we want them to do. So strategies for effective comment reputation. So I always put these in the free tips, and these are the ones that you can sort of take away and implement yourself. Normally they're totally free, but today, because of the automation side, there are tools out there which do cost money, but a lot of them are inexpensive now, which means that they're accessible for most brands, which is great. So the first one is the follow the assess, address, and I will hide framework when it comes to negative comments. So why this works, not all negative comments should be treated the same. Knowing when to respond and when to hide is really important. So what you could do is you could categorize these into three types. You could do constructive criticism. Now, I would personally be responding publicly and professionally to those ones. You could have trolling or hate speech. I would just hide or potentially block the user depending on how bad it is. And the third one is spam or irrelevant negativity. I would be using moderation tools to filter those out quite quickly, especially out of hours. A lot of brands have difficulty over the weekend and in the evenings where most people are online searching for products. Just naturally, they're going to be online a lot more. And that's where a lot of commentary comes from. And obviously, we as marketers, as brand owners, as social media teams, we're not online. And again, we're then going in on the Monday morning or the evening from the evening before. And obviously, these have been shown to a wide variety of our audience for a certain period of time. So again, using automation to hide those in real time for you then to go and review when you're back online for that inexpensive lot of these platforms cost now is, for me, it's a no-brainer. And the second one is use AI tools to monitor and filter results. So sort of going on to this bit now, I would be, again, using those tools, but not just for the hiding, but I would also be looking at actually finding out who are my brand advocates, how can I respond? So one of the features of Rupert is actually, Rupert will create a response ready for you to go to review and either amend and then respond. So rather than you having to think about a response on every single comment, which is really difficult, because especially when you get a vast amount, I would be using a tool of Rupert's ilk to actually get that to get more engagement. And we know the more you engage with customers online, the CPMs drop from a paid perspective, but also from an organic perspective, you get free reach because the algorithm will push your content out on more because it's doing what the algorithm wants, which is keeping people online. So I'll definitely be using tools to monitor and also filter those comments into categorizations if they do. So for example, it could be sales opportunities, customer service inquiries, could be negative, constructive feedback. These are really important, especially the sales opportunities. If you get a vast amount of comments, you're not going to be able to find the sales opportunities in there unless you're lucky and you're filtering through them absolutely to the nth degree. So using tools to really notify you of those opportunities are really, really important. Again, like I said, most of these are inexpensive now for most brands. So I'd be definitely looking at trialing some of these and seeing what works for you, especially if you're running paid media, which, yeah, I'm a big advocate for using paid social, which is great. It works very well, but you've got to play the rules of the game when it comes to the engagement side of it. The third one is take the conversation private. So you'll see a lot of people have a massive moan online about a product or service or a company, and the company goes back to them and goes, I'll DM you. So that's great, and I agree, take it offline. But what I would also do is I would try and publicly show what you're trying to achieve by going into the DMs. Just going, I'll DM you, looks like you're hiding. So again, if you're going to try and extract more value from that comment section and use that as a public thumbs up PR case, I'd address the issue publicly, but then take it offline by DM or via email. If you've got, obviously, you know which account it is. I'll do it professionally. I'll do it politely. You might not even put in there, we'll DM you. You might do that as well, but I would definitely be showing the public and the people who are going to see the ad or that organic post how you deal with that negativity. I wouldn't go straight offline. And that essentially, like I said, just don't put, I'll DM you. I think it looks really, really important. It doesn't help what you're trying to achieve. Again, this is an example of a brand who are running paid media, Waste Online. And what you'll see here is that you've got a load of spam essentially that have hit this ad. It's really frustrating because these aren't a massive brand, so they're pretty spending a lot of revenue or percentage of their revenue on these ads and their marketing. And again, this just looks really poor. What's really frustrating with this is that this has been left there. So if anyone is looking at using this company, they're going to see all this nonsense, and it's going to impact their buying decision, or if they are going to book now a call or become a lead. So this happens a lot, and it looks naff. So I would, again, if you're running paid media, if you're running organic social, and you're seeing you're getting these spam, I would try and hide them as soon as possible. Again, AI tools will help you filter these out straight away, so they won't even be seen, which is great. But again, this doesn't build trust. And I want to make that really clear. That looks really naff. So yeah, that's another episode of the comment section. Like I said, it's between 10 and 15 minutes every week. I don't want it to be War and Peace. I just want to try and get you guys as much value as possible, and then we go about our day. So if anyone has any questions, type them in the box. I don't know how many people actually turn up to these. It's not many, I know. So if you are watching and you've got a comment, even if it's just, I don't know, anything at all, just put anything. I'm in here for another 90 seconds. But next week, again, it'll be 11 a.m. on Wednesday, as it always is. And we're going to be discussing social media automation and finding the right balance. And I still think there's a lot of social media teams and marketing teams that are trying to figure out, what do we automate? What do we not? What tools are out there we can use? And really the key with it is making sure we don't lose that human touch. And I think that's a really important thing when it comes to social. You've got to seem authentic still. And we know some brands that use like ManyChat going, hey, we'll get back to you in 24 hours. It looks naff, and it's not what the social media platforms want. It's not what your customers or prospects want. And you don't want it as a brand. You want responses that look, we want them to be, hopefully approved and written by a human, but we know the resource that we have, and we don't have that. So again, we're going to run into that, and finding the right balance is tricky. And I'm fully aware of that. But again, we can run through how potentially we can, some tips on how you can find that balance. But everyone, thank you for listening. I'll say everyone, whoever's here. Have a lovely day. And as always, if you do have any questions around comments, how you can extract more value, pop me a message on LinkedIn. And as always, thank you for listening.